Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
What's up, guys? All right, we got Noah in the house. How you guys doing? Pluff, Manny, Steerling. How you doing, Steerling? Noah, Ryan. What's up? Maxwell, John Effect. The song is hilarious. Yeah, it's pretty fun. RC, Daniel. What's up with Bitcoin? Any level to stop the upward move soon? Yes, there is a couple. All right, we'll go through that right now. So we got a lot of opportunities surrounding our current price action right now. So I'll go through all of it with you guys. But yeah, let's see. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame, just so I can talk about what Daniel's asking about. We have broken the downtrending momentum from the all-time high. Right? This is downtrending resistance on the daily. We dipped out a little bit on the 4-hour. These are all mostly just wicks on the daily. We hit our head here last night and recently on like the 29th as well. Yeah, so we hit our head recently here, hit our head again last night, and then we finally broke through. And now we're approaching 118K, which has a lot of confluences for a rejection. However, even just a little bit of consolidation here could build structure for continuation to the all-time highs. This is kind of like the final boss before basically reaching the all-time highs again for Bitcoin. But it's a strong one, so we might not break through it the first time around. We got a 4-hour order block as well as a bunch of little lower time frame order blocks in this as a cluster. And we've got supply concern here. We got the previous point control here from an 16-day consolidative range that has a lot of control over the price action since this consolidation has occurred, right? So we have the POC that acted a resistance here, support, resistance, resistance again, and now we're coming up to potentially approach it here. If we zoom in on lower time frames, we can see that right now we're fighting that same value area that we're talking about, that point of control, that 16-day range. as resistance. We're finding that value area as a resistance. So if we got a proper break, pullback of at least 2 candles, and then a higher high, then we'd have acceptance into this value area, and most traders would begin to target the value area high. The last time we came here, we failed to do that. We came up, we broke in, we got the proper pullback, we failed to get the close above the wick, so instead we got an SFP and broke our low and started coming down from there, and that's what we got a really good short from. So we'll either have a continuation structure here, or we'll have a really good short opportunity. So what we did last time is we waited for a 15-minute opposing change of character right here to see if we could define a rejection from this valley area. And then let's zoom out back here so you guys can see. Right, so we came up, we broke in on the 15-minute, we pulled back. We want to get the higher high. We failed to get the higher high because we had great confidence there, retesting this momentum, right? But we failed on the lower time frames. So on the higher time frames, this is all just a big wick, right? But we were able to front run that rejection using the lower time frames like the 15-minute and the 3-minute because we got the change of character we wanted here, but we didn't have the R&R, so we pulled a fib from this high to that low to find this golden pocket as an area of interest. Use that previous high as a stop loss guard, and we saw on a 3-minute time frame an opposing change of character here. So if we hit our head off the floor of the golden pocket or within the golden pocket to the 786, and we have an opposing change of character on the 3-minute, I'll take that short, and then I'll look here for my stop loss guard. So we could have a similar scenario occur again here. So right now we are breaking into the valley area. We're getting a proper internal pullback here. This is the 15-minute. But we're lacking that higher high. That's all we need is that higher high, and then we can start running up to the POC. And at that point, we'll look for a potential rejection or continuation structure. But I'm banking on a rejection. So what I'll be doing is I'll be looking for a short at 118K. I have my alarm ready to tell me that we're crossing this area in case I'm not looking at the charts at the time. I recommend everyone doing that so you're not staring at the charts religiously every day. So you set your pre-alarm. You get notified. We could SFP right here. This is a wick level from the last time we got rejected. So we get a legacy SFP if we close below this area. I would prefer we consolidate a little bit first before grabbing that so I can find a low that I could use for my initial target in hopes that we break that front running a change of character to then target the value area low, and then we'll see if we get a continuation from there. That is one of my trade plans is right here. It's a short. Lots of confluence is there. Now, if we don't even make it there we have an opportunity here too. So if we pull a fib from this low to this high, we have a golden pocket here. We have the previous highs right here. We have a 5 and a 10-minute order block right here, and we have uptrending momentum. So if I take this long, it'll be on the 3-minute time frame. Then I'll be looking for a 3-minute bullish change of character. And if we get that, I'll be targeting the unclaimed high, assuming that this is the unclaimed high at the time we take this trade. Based on the structure right now, I think that this is just going to fall down, and we'll see what happens. We have support here that can front run that though. So if we don't dip down to as low as the golden pocket, we have the equilibrium point here. We have the previous highs, so we could just bounce off this and go up as well. And just induce, be a liquidity inducement by stacking more liquidity here for people jumping into shorts too soon. And then we'll take that liquidity and come up. And that's usually what occurs when you break the lows like this at the equilibrium point. It becomes the liquidity inducement. More liquidity adds up here from people jumping into high leverage shorts, and then they end up getting knocked out. So I won't be taking this as a short, but I'll be looking for this as a potential long. If we don't get the bullish opposing change of character here on the 3-minute, then the next spot is right here. So this is what I'm saying. There's like a lot of opportunities here because like we can have a bearish change of character occurrence here, and that's right after rejecting off this valley area low. We have a valley area right here as well, a previous valley area that we kind of just broke right through recently, right? So if we get that, we could see acceptance in this valley area and then a rotation down to the valley area low and retest these previous highs because we didn't, and retest the downtrending momentum as well. And this is an area where I'll be preparing for longs as well. So we can short here right into it, watching out for the VWAP and the POC. I'd feel more comfortable if you're like a one-dimensional trader and you only like doing longs, then this is great because out of all the trades that I'm looking at, all 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, this one I feel more confident in than this one. We have like this one's pretty great, and this one here. This is my least favorite one right here because we have opposing confluences and barriers that could interrupt the trade relatively easily compared to the other trades. But that is, yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. And see how we got into here. I was preparing a signal last night. We had this uptrending momentum. We had a lot of confluences here. We had a tight, steep momentum right here, which are kind of think of them as like unsustainable pumps, right? This pump is unsustainable, and you just prepare for opposing confluences that could induce a reversal, right? So lost momentum. We hit our head off the previous value area. We had the downtrending macro resistance where I saw sell orders on. We had a massive sell wall trailing this trend line, telling us that this trend line is going to be honored by sell orders. And we got the fall down, but I didn't give the signal that I jumped into any short or anything like that because I saw a massive buy wall right here. And I'm guessing it's either because of the previous highs or the VWAP. But either way, the buy wall is too strong, so I just did not signal to jump into a short because I figured it would be a short-lived short, no pun intended. But we got all of our rules met. It's just when the order books is a great tool. When you have all your rules met, you can look at these two things could tell you to not jump into trade even though all your rules are met. Your risk-to-reward ratio. So if your risk-to-reward ratio is not met, don't take the trade. And then the other is looking at the order books is a good tool because it's like looking both ways for crossing the road. If you see a giant buy wall interrupting your short or a giant sell wall interrupting your long, then wait till it gets mitigated first and see if you get new price action structure that will meet all your rules so you can take that trade instead. Because nothing's worse than jumping into like a short and then it seems strong and then immediately starts going against you. But yeah, we ended up building a ascending triangle and we ended up breaking that to the upside with aggressive move. We built an order block here. So if we do return here, we have some confluences to prepare for a decent pump. We had the order block, the previous value low, these previous highs, the downtrending momentum that could be respected as support. So this is a good spot to prepare for longs again. Around 115K is the ceiling of this area. So you could have the opposing change of character on the ceiling or within the range itself. But yeah, we got tons of opportunities, guys. So I'm pretty sure you guys will get a signal from me today based on the active price action that things are looking good. Unless we have like a stupidly large like green candle that breaks right through this, you're likely going to see a signal today from me preparing for any of these setups. Okay, so now that I'm done my rant, let's look at the chat here. See, we got RSI is overbought on the 4 hour. Yep. So that's another good form of confluence as well. As we reach this POC, we have Jarek, the legend trader. Could you analyze DAM, please? Yeah, we could do that. Heat maps, 108K. 108K worth of, yeah, well, heat maps, there's going to be a lot of liquidity there. Because we front run, like right around here, around 107K, we had liquidity pooled here. And then when we came up and came back down to revisit, I was like eager, waiting for a long here, but we never got like the that retracement that I wanted. I wanted to grab that liquidity for good confluence, maybe even tap the 200 alongside this daily momentum here. But we front run a lot of that, so we added more liquidity. We didn't take liquidity. So I see what you mean there, Runway. Really good confluences here for potential longs again if we come back down to return to this, but it's going to be a little bit of a wait. Especially if we find support above this neckline and above that point of control that we're talking about, because then we'd confirm support off this massive double bottom and we're likely going to go up to the all-time highs again. But yeah, it's a good spot to watch in the future. I'm going to lead this here. We're on 107.890, this little price tag. So we'll be reminded to prepare for our long there again. Going back to the 15-minute. Here we go. So yeah, I would recommend setting alarms where I have mine set. I got one set here at 117.8 and one right here at 116.767. So that way you guys will get notified when I get notified, and then you'll probably see me typing up a signal very shortly. I stopped doing like too much of a notice of when I'm preparing for something, because if I give too much notice, all the beginners jump into trades. I get them all hyped up when there's no structure. So I'll start typing when I get close to my alarms instead. Okay, so Jarek, let's take a look at your request there, man. So I want to look at DAM. Thanks for going live when I'm feeding. Oh, you're feeding the Hobbit? Nice, man. Okay, let's find out what DAM's about. Reservoir. Okay, we'll look at it on MEXC, see how it's looking. Low time frame downtrend. Just hit the 786 from this high to low pull. Coming down, testing these previous highs soon, most likely. Let's go and zoom out a little further, see what the bigger story is first. Okay, so it's listed on MEXC on August 25th, so it's pretty young on here. I want to take a look and see if it's listed anywhere else with maybe more data. We got KSX, but I don't want people trading on KSX, so I won't talk about it. Weeks, same thing. Let's look at Bybit. All right, let's go. Get the bearish change of character. Is this the same asset? Looks so different. All right, we'll pull it up on MEXC. All right, 4 hour flip bearish recently. Lost momentum. We got this downtrend momentum here. Okay, it's been holding it down since 17 cents. Now we're at 5 cents, close to 6. We get that 4 hour order block here. Nothing here, eh? Use this as a Valerie high, escape. Testing the Valerie high again. Just pulling data to help us find key levels. And then we can use these key levels to help assist us in what we can anticipate to happen next with the asset. So we got our previous Valerie high here from this consolidative range before we used it as support. And then we got the higher high really aggressively. So I don't know if anyone could have traded that, but hopefully you would have been able to front run something like that. And then we got our previous point of control. And then we got our value area low. So all the tedious stuff is pretty much done from our support levels. We have a value area up here, but I want to look at the immediate threat right now. We want to hold this as support. So when we come back down to retest value areas, think of them as support levels first. But what's nice about this kind of data is it helps you identify what kind of events need to occur for it to drop further and where could we drop to. So if we broke into this value area like we did here, and we got a retest of the value area high and then a lower low, then we can get that full rotation down to the value area low. Right? That's the worst case scenario that could have happened for DAM right now. And if we zoom into the hourly, we have some confluences that start to stack here. We got an hourly order block now as well. So if we returned down here, we could end up getting an ascending double bottom. We might not get the lower low because of these confluences. So long here, potentially, send it back. You could pull a fib from this low to this high and see if there's any other forms of stacking confluences for a refinement. So if you're going to refine this area, if you're someone who is looking for a golden pocket retest, this would be your area. I like to encase the golden pocket and the 786, right? So I would normally box this zone, but now knowing that we have like a hourly order block here and the previous value area high, you could refine this to basically only include a partial like floor amount of the golden pocket, like right here, where you can refine it to the hourly order block. You can refine this to the value area high like this to make it like a tighter area of confluence. And then you just look for an opposing lower time frame change of character here. I'll be looking at the 15-minute to the 3-minute. Yeah, I'll be looking for a 15-minute bullish change of character here. Because we're currently bearish on the 15. So I would like to see that change of character occur. If we were still bullish, I'll be looking at like the 3-minute time frame and then using the 3-minute bullish change of character for an entry and then target the local highs. We'll see what happens, but that's basically what I've got for you. There's two areas of interest. We've got the 4-hour order block here and supply on DAM. So you can look for a bearish change of character here, then target the lows, or you can look for a bullish change of character here and target the highs. Any opposing change of characters in between could be used as a warning sign to take some profits off the table before hitting your target. But yeah, good zones of interest. I think we could also see consolidation here for up to 3 days as well until we hit that downtrending momentum, and then we have hopefully a squeeze against this value area high, and then we break to the upside. And that's for a more macro swing bound move rather than just the scalping moves that we're talking about here. And if you're preparing for that macro break to the upside, then try to get your longs on the bottom side of the range. Prepare for your exits at the top of the range, but if you instead get those breaks of structure for continuations, then you can stay in your trade instead of listening to, instead if you get the imposing rules like a bearish change of character, and you can exit instead. But that's DAM. I hope that helps you out. Let's go back to Bitcoin and see what it's looking at like since we last looked at it. All right, we took the unclaimed high. We're getting that break of structure now. We have 1 minute and 25 seconds on the 5-minute time frame to see if we can define this as an SFP or a break of structure. If we get the SFP, then I'll be targeting this low right here. We'll find out soon. We got about a minute left. We just tapped into a 30-minute order block, so that could induce a pullback. Oh, we're just getting a pump right through it. All right, we're probably not going to SFP here then. which is fine because then we have our next area of interest coming up right after. And if we pump fast into it, then we're more likely to drop fast back down. What's nice about this, we talk about this all the time on this channel, where if you have an impulse move up, build a base, another fast impulse move up, we create demand. If we create demand here at a valley area low, this whole valley area, if we don't get the rejection at the POC and continue to go up, this could be a good spot to prepare for longs again as we range and mitigate the supply concern. We'll see. 3 seconds left. 2, 1. All right, we got the break of structure. Cool. So this is our new higher low. Let's see if we make our way up here now. Did you see the Alpine chart? Holy rug pull. Ooh. We could take a look at that, yeah? For damn, I am long says the previous point control, yesterday's low. Oh, good job, man. Well, we talked about a potential exit plan for Dan. So you can prepare for that opposing change of character inside that red zone that we drew. And just maybe take some off the table if you have like an opposing change character there, and see if there's any new strong lows to move your stop loss to. Pluff saying the virtual higher time frame looking good. Sweet. Can you explain the 2-bar retrace rule for SFPs? I'm not even sure at this point if this rule was set up for SFPs though. Yeah, we could do that. So an SFP, here's a good example. This is a very, very clean example right here. So you need to have an established unclaimed high, right? So when you start going into a pump like this and you have a 2-candle pullback, you've established an unclaimed high during that moment. And then the high could be used as a break of structure. So if we had that pullback, then higher high, you'd have a break of structure if the candle closed above the wick. If it fails to close above the wick, like this candle just did, then you have an SFP. So you need to have a 2-candle pullback to establish a break of structure. And what an SFP is an invalidated break of structure. So you need to have that pullback rule in order for it to be an SFP or a break of structure. So I hope that helps you out. But that's basically what you're looking for. This is like a really good example because that's all we got. We just got the 2-candle pullback. But if we only had one, this would not be considered a proper pullback to establish it as an SFP. Now, you could still come up after 1-candle pullback, grab liquidity, and then close below that area, and that would still be considered a liquidity grab, but it's not considered a swing failure pattern. One's just more trusted than the other for trades, and you just target with SFPs the low, right? In hopes that you get the change of character to tell you to hold your trade, and then you can evolve your target to any form of bullish confluences that could interrupt your trade going forward, like this uptrending momentum. We had this bullish zone here. Yeah, break of momentum, warning sign, yeah. So for example, if this candle didn't close above this wick and instead closed right here, you would have yourself an SFP. And you want it, your invalidation point is the top of the wick. So how the SFP performs is going to dictate whether or not you even enter the trade, because you're going to need the R&R to the low. And then you need to have a continuation plan if you get the change of character. Now you got it? All right, sweet. Awesome, man. Live without me, never. Yeah, Coma, you weren't the first one to message. What's up? What's going on? It's not good. Your attendance is at a downtrend. It's okay. I was late to my own call this morning. I was like 10 minutes late because my computer wouldn't fucking work. I get you. Okay, so we had a request to look at virtual. We looked at DAM already. We looked at Bitcoin. What was the other request? I saw something here. Oh, while I'm looking, so we got virtual. Someone mentioned a rug pull. I think that's what it was. We'll find out if it was a rug or just a whale just melting people's faces off. I'll go back to that. We'll look at virtual first. I think we have a virtual chart. And I got alarms ready for Bitcoin, so we won't miss out on any Bitcoin moves. Okay. And while you guys are here, I'm going to show you the new giveaway system, how it works. Because the last live we did tests on it, and I really, really appreciate you guys doing that test because, yeah, now we're going to be able to do some pretty cool stuff. Get this downtrending momentum here on virtuals. We were hopeful, yeah, we really wanted to have this break here, but we never got it. This was the measurable target. We never even made it there. Yeah, we didn't even get close. Still have this zone of interest. So we mitigated this whole demand zone here that we used religiously for virtuals, but now it's all gone. We have this previous valley area here that's helped assist us in setups, like preparing for, like this impulse move pretty much came from the confluence of the break of this neckline and the point of control. So we had a really aggressive move so far on this break. We flipped bullish. Yeah, we got the change of character too simultaneously. The VWAP's on our side. So this is the 4 hour. So for virtual, we got that proper pullback structure. This would be a spot buy for me. If we get this break right here, break a structure, basically a retest of these highs, a little tad bit of front run to that previous point of control, these lows, and get that rotation up. We do have to watch these highs here that can act as resistance, maybe induce consolidation. And then we'll have like, if we do induce consolidation here, we'll have like a pretty broad inverse head and shoulders. That could help us drive price back up for virtuals. I think virtuals is undervalued right now. Like it's the birthplace of AI assets, right? So I think that, yeah, this would be a good one to hold. And you could stake it as well for third-party rewards. Okay. And we got our downtrending momentum. So building basically a falling wedge. The falling wedge measurable target is the high of the wedge. If you think about how liquidity is induced and performs in a falling wedge, we take, and we take, and we take liquidity, but we keep stacking more and more above us. So statistically, they're more likely to break to the upside because of that. And the measurable target is the high, but you got to watch your barriers along the way. I've also noticed in backtesting falling wedges that because of the top side of a falling wedge is normally where, if you were to pull a fixed range falling profile on the whole structure, the POC is more likely to be on the top side because that's where most of the consolidation usually occurs. In this case, I think it's going to be roughly around like here-ish. But yeah, I noticed that if we have an upper side POC, that also halts the price action from there and we have a huge correction. I'm actually curious to see what it looks like on virtuals. So pull from here to here. Yeah, lower. It's on the lower side this time. Double distribution because we had two consolidative ranges. So at least we'll know the behavior, right? So we have fast movements here. We slow down, consolidate here. And we have consolidation up here with a couple of fast moves. So we can prepare for that kind of behavior as well. So this is going to be the hardest part to break past right now. 130, yeah, $1.35, which is kind of like the low side of the 200-day EMA, the downtrending resistance, the supply concern. We have lots of confluences there. But I'm going to delete that for now. There we go. Yeah, virtual's looking great. It's just lacking that break of structure. If it wasn't for this, I'd consider jumping into a futures long, but this could be just be a really good spot buy. And holding this spot, it's still pretty great because you can 2x from here, right? Like the target is literally an over a 2.5, yeah, almost a 2.5x, 125%. So yeah, I'll probably be spot buying this today. Bitcoin just chilling now, eh? Alpine was the rug pull. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Let's take a look at Alpine. So Alpine. Let's go on Binance. Ooh. Okay, it wasn't a rug, but yeah, I'm not saying you don't have to trust this asset anymore. This is not a really technically an official rug. We had a squeeze event occur that caused, once we retest these highs, we had a violent move to the upside and we already hit that target. So this is technically just like a regression trend falling wedge structure. Whether it's a regression trend or a falling wedge, the target is the same as the top side, right? We're just talking about that with Ondo. Was it Ondo? No, it was Virtuals. We're talking about that with Virtuals, and Virtuals was it's building it up right here, basically in its placement to the falling wedge. We got that break, violent move, hit the target. Everyone got out the second the target was hit. This could be a warning of a low supply, and I mean that in the sense of like circulating supply of tokens. The lower, or it could be caused by a poor amount of liquidity. It is easier to pump assets. Sorry, guys. It's easier to pump assets with lower liquidity. Everything moves relative to liquidity, not to the market cap. And what I mean by that is, like, basically if the market cap is 1 million, right? 1 million market cap, or if the liquidity is 100K and the market cap is 1 million, you only need $10,000 to move the asset 10%. You do not need 100K to move it 10% relative to the market cap. It's all relative to the liquidity pools. So this could have been a pump and dump because of poor liquidity. Came up, hit the target, everyone sold. Or a big enough whale sold. Okay. So yeah, that's wild. Crazy. So if we're looking for a retracement move, we have a fair value gap. Like a huge one. What is that percentage drop, by the way? That's from $14 to $2. 86%, 91%. So it lost 91% of its market cap in a single, like basically in a day, 2 days. Yeah, you could wait for structure, but be careful trading this. Look for that bullish change of character, and then evaluate whether or not you want to jump in. That's not something I would touch. We're starting to come up to our key area of interest. Getting a bit of an awkward climb. A rug pull, it's an actual rug pull and not just like a massive correction. We'd have to look into it, of course, first in case there is anything going on there, but most rug pulls bring it to zero. Like a proper rug pull will bring it to zero. If the creators of the asset sold all of their holdings, then I would also consider that a rug pull, and then it becomes the people's money at that point. Because if the creators don't have any more of the certain supply, they don't have any funds left over to pay themselves, they don't have any funds left over to pay for marketing. So it could become a dead asset if that were the situation of the drop, like if that's the result of the drop. But I think it's more likely to be something like just a whale selling on poor liquidity. So yeah, Bitcoin's still dancing here. We still got to wait for it to climb its way up to the POC, and this is going to be the big test to find out if we're going to get that rotation to the value area high, or if we're going to rejection and come right back down to, yeah, we'll be looking around here, or at least the value area low right here. Which isn't a really great move percentage-wise, so I'm hoping for a high neckline for the change of character and not a low neckline, or else we won't have the R&R to our first barrier. We can, however, rotate this key level from here to here. Now we're just dipping into the value area now. So if we pull back, we fail to create the higher high, this will induce a change of character, and we'll have a failure of acceptance into a value area, which would be the exact same situation of our last short over here that worked out really well. Failure of acceptance to a value area is a really good rule for shorts. Anything else you guys want to look at? TMC wants to look at super. Okay. I almost typed Superman there. Let's go to Binance. So super on the daily, we've got a strong consolidative range. 2, 3, okay. Pull a fixed range from here to here. Draw our demand zone. I think it's fully mitigated. We'll draw it just in case, and then we'll delete it if it is mitigated. Get our rectangle from here to here. I'm going to refine this to the value area low. Okay. So we held this as support. Okay. Still strong support level. We got a daily order block down here now too. So we had a wicked move after we broke internally on this low here, on this high, sorry. Blasted right to the value area high and SFP'd that level. Now an SFP trade that you could probably take on the daily. Maybe there's something that you could dissect in the lower time frames there, but that was a harsh rejection. So if we hold this point of control, we could continue our way up. We're kind of getting squeezed between the 50-day and the 200 and that point of control. So we need to get above. What I don't like is I would like to say like there could be a good key level here that we need to break above, but we can't say that because it's way up here. So we'll have to look internally and see if there's anything that could help us. We have a supply zone built on the hourly time frame against the 200-day EMA right here. So we can watch that as a barrier that we need to mitigate in order to continue up. Send it back. Bring this to short. We do have a double bottom structure descending, so internal change of character occurrence will be right here. and that will come with confluence of bouncing off the POC and the 50-day EMA. There we go. So if we pump, it could be short-lived, right? If we break this, we have to watch this as a potential barrier that could cause a reversal, which is right in our face after entering, right? So if we get that break on the hourly, what I'd recommend doing is waiting for a pullback and then using a fib pull from the low to that high and then finding a zone of interest like the golden pocket 786 on like the 15-minute or the 3-minute, and then seeing if we get the bullish hedge character within that to then target that high in hopes that we break it for a continuation. But I know that's a lot to say, especially if you're not used to fibs or if you're not good with your market structure yet. All I'm trying to say is I wouldn't trust the first break. I'll be looking for the second move most likely. If you jump in on this, make sure you have a good stop loss guard to help support the R&R in case you have to exit around here. That 200 daily EMA alongside the supply could be a pain in the butt. But if we break through it, we could have another violent move up to the valley area high again. And percentage-wise, that's massive. Like that from the neckline here to here, it's 52%. So it's no wonder we're retracing, right? Having an illiquid move like that, retracing, claiming it all back, coming back to test these highs, maybe we'll return back up, but it's ugly right now. I hope that helps you out, man. Hey, Cal, what's up? Would you take a look at Tron? Yeah, we can do that. Do you have a chance for a novice question? How do you mark valley areas? That's a good question. So valley areas or volume gaps are pretty easy to mark. So once you have an established range, there's two ways you can do it. When you have an established range like this, you can find these are the valley areas that Dave is talking about right here. What I'd recommend doing is marking the shelves themselves as local support or resistance. So if we're above it, mark it as local support. If we're below it, let's say here, mark this as local resistance. And then you can see if there's any confluences with that area to prepare for potential rejection. That's pretty much all there is to it. If you have a scenario where you have double distribution, they're usually more important to pay attention to. Let's say we consolidate and we have everything you draw in trading looks sexual, so just bear with me. But if you have like this would be a valley, you'd anticipate that if, say for example, we have a double bottom here and we break to the upside, you can use that valley as confluence for knowing that the price action is likely going to move quickly to here, right? Kind of like in this scenario, we get that change of character, we move quickly to here. There's way more extreme examples than that, but that's how I'd mark them. Mark them as local support and resistance, or you can even write on your level saying it's a volume shelf, resistance and brackets if you're below it, and support and brackets if you're above it. And the other way to mark them is not with fixed range volume profiles like this, right? You can also use a visible range volume profile, which is mainly meant for more of a macro approach. So if I grab a new chart that's not completely flooded with noise, let's go to here. Let's pull this up. This is a chart that I usually use for lessons, so it's usually pretty clean. Let's delete this noise. Okay. So your visible range volume profile. This might require at least the essentials plan. So So you want to type in VRVP, and then visible range volume profile will come up. I used to use this indicator religiously, but now I kind of migrated into fixed range volume profiles. So if you get this, you change your row size to 200. This will adapt these bars here on the right. So you can refine your data, right? Otherwise, it's pretty darn useless. Your value area volume is not nearly as important to change on this versus a fixed range volume profile, because with the fixed range volume profile, it'll change your value area high and your value area low based on 70% of the volume being within it, right? So the value area high and the value area low is the consolidation of 70% of the volume. What it does on the visible range volume profile, it just grays things out. That's not a part of that, where it's not like 70% of the volume, right? Everything else beyond this is not 70% of the volume. So I recommend also changing the colors for your psychology to just be the same color, because what kind of volume it is does not matter. It's just the volume that occurs is what matters. So here you have a bunch of volume gaps or valleys that you're talking about there, right? So this is where you'd expect price action to move quickly and slow down here and range here. So you can mark that right on the edge as an area of interest. So if I were to draw like a horizontal line here, you can do it here. Stuff like that. And you'll see the confluences of the price action and how it performs around these areas, right? So here you can see that in these volume gaps, price action moves very quickly between it. We don't usually consolidate within it, but in these areas, you can see that we normally consolidate within it, right? So these areas, the tops and the bottom, the volume shelves, are the areas you want to watch the most, because when we retest them, they usually act as really strong support or resistance. Yeah, I hope that helps you out. You can always ask me as well in the Discord, and I can be more in depth, and it's also inside the course too. That's included in the membership. Like, all the courses are included in the membership. Okay, so join the live. Can we take a look at SCI? We sure can. Bitcoin's still chugging along, being boring. We've accomplished a lot in the hour that we've been together. Let's see if we can find out more. So SCI, eh? I don't know if we have an SCI chart. No, we don't. We have a SUI chart. I always get those two confused sometimes. And we got a regression trend on SCI right now. So we initially just hit our head off this 200-day EMA, pull back, got the break of structure. Now we're coming up. Looks like we got an area here marked for an area of interest. So I just want to zoom out and see what we've got drawn. Oh, okay, it was a historical trade. We did a previous trade in the past here. We don't normally look at SCI, but the last time we looked at it was around here. We were looking for longs into this demand. We had our key level that we wanted to have broken, and it was a very violent move to our supply, where we end up having that double top break to the downside. Failure to create higher high, so descending double top. Then we retested and came down. We got to redo this chart a little bit though, because it's been a while since we looked at it. So we can delete this, we can delete this. We can rotate this to here. We have demand here. We just zoom in a little bit. Make sure I got that all marked properly. So the top of the wick right here. Bottom of the wick here, the pullback. So we tapped into it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. The last time we grabbed liquidity from here. So we're getting that. I'll be marking these highs in case we SFP. Gonna have a legacy SFP here. Make sure you get your magnet tool out so it clings right to the wick. I would also clone this, click and drag here in case we have that very rare scenario that we SFP this, if not that, but being that close together. Yeah, I doubt it. So if we get the SFP, normally you would target, like this is a 4 hour, so let's go with lower time frames. So normally you target the low, but the 4 hour SFP, I don't know. I don't think that would work out. The hourly one here, if we get the hourly SFP, I would target this low. We have an hourly order block here. We have the 200-day EMA here. 15-minute SFP. So you have to take it one time frame at a time, but this would be, man, same thing. Structurally, it's here. We're super close. We have a regression trend, this awkward ascending momentum. It's pretty aggressive, so if we get the SFP, I'm expecting a harsh move back down, grabbing all the liquidity that was just added here. If you visualize the order flow, yeah, every break of structure will have liquidity below it, and we just kept stacking more and more. Right now, our key level is here for shorts. So this is where, if broken, we'll likely have a stronger continuation down. You kind of want to front run that. If we get the higher high, or if we SFP, this will be the new key level, and we rotate that from here to here. So if you're someone who only wants to trade, like, changes the characters with high confluence, you're just going to have to wait until we get the higher high to get a better level. But otherwise, yeah, I'll be looking for SFPs here. If we manage to close above this area instead, our next area of confluence is this previous value area high. We got an order block here. We have supply concern over here. Right? This is completely coincidental. That's crazy. Let's delete that, re-add a new one. It was from a previous level, not from this level. So that was a coincidence. There we go. Send this to back, and we're good. Now we got a proper. There we go. Yeah, definitely looking for shorts soon, either on the liquidity sweep here, or preferably if we get an opposing change of character, we get it around here. And we'll lose our momentum and confluence with that. And I would be basically targeting this demand zone here. We have like 3 different sets of order blocks, and confluence with that 200-day EMA as my short target if we take the short. And if so, I'll draw a zone here of interest. We have the VWAP there too. We have a really good deviation of VWAP, which is also confluence for shorts. There we go. That doesn't look too shabby. And we got, if you don't like the long shorts, then you can wait for the long. If you're a one-dimensional trader just starting out, because I know when you're new traders, they feel weird shorting. It's kind of a weird mindset you got to shift into, making money along the way down. I know traders have been trading for, almost 10 years, and they only do longs still. There's nothing wrong with it. It does cut your opportunities in half, but there we go. Okay, so next request was TRX, right? Do you have a chance for now? Okay, cool. So Dave, if you have any other questions about valleys, just let me know, man. Did we already look at Tron? We're actually about to look at it right now. We just finished looking at SEI. I'm going to go back to the Bitcoin chart on here. I know I have a separate Tron chart, so I'll pull that up. I'm going to close down one of my charts first. I take a peek at Ondo. Okay, Ondo got the break. Oh, Ondo is looking good for a spot buy, guys. Because if we zoom out on Ondo, it's the 4-hour structure. We've been consolidating here for 80 days. And we got that 25%, 50% rough deviation of the value area, which is a good confluence for longs. We tapped into this previous value high. We've been using that as demand consistently over and over and over again after we mitigated the local demand. But now we got like a low time frame acceptance into here. Acceptance comes from a pullback, higher high, break of structure in the value area. And then most traders will start targeting the value area high while being mindful of any barriers along the way. And the barriers that Ondo has, we were just talking about volume shelves, Dave, so this is a good example of how you could use one. So here is the valley, the volume gap, but here is the top of this consolidative where all the ranges highs, right? And it became a volume shelf because of that. So here we have confluences of liquidity from these highs here. The 50 and the 200-day EMA are converging, and it's all within this tight, refined spot right here. So if we get the acceptance, we have to watch this as our first barrier, and it could induce a pullback to retest the value area low. If we do get that, then we'll probably just get that inverse head and shoulders kind of posture, Wyckoff model, and then run up from there. So we'll have really good confluence of a fast-paced move, of breaking this local resistance, having that kind of posture. We're kind of estimating that it will likely play out that way, or hit our head the first time, pull back, then break it. And then we'll have that very fast-paced move to the measurable target, which aligns with the point of control. And we'll likely have that fast-paced move there. Because if you look throughout history, super fast moves in this volume gap. So that's kind of what I'm preparing for with Ondo. It's like a 16% hold to around like $1.10. But yeah, every time Ondo breaks downtrending momentum at the value area low, when we get that bullish change of character, we always revisit the value area high. And we just recently did that. We got the break of downtrending momentum. We didn't really have the change of character yet until we break this high, right? And changes of characters usually induce pullbacks first, but they never usually hit their strong low at their invalidation point. We've got a scammer. Okay, Swiftcoin. Let's deal with that. Hide user on this channel. Thank you, Sterling. I think that was your first scammer, Sterling. I think everyone needs to give him a clap. Dealing with that crap. All right, cool. So that's Ondo. Okay, which indicator do you use mostly? You explained value areas with the visible range volume profile. I mostly use the fixed range volume profile. Gaps in between value areas are going to be volume gaps anyways on the visible range volume profile. I like fixed range because you can refine your data a lot more and you can use the data. It's just a lot more visible, stuff like that. The visible range volume profile, what it does is it takes all the data on your screen, right? So if you have something on your screen that you don't want included a part of your poll, that's what the fixed range volume profile is perfect for. Like I wouldn't want, if I'm trying to find a value area here, if I grab the fixed visual range, for example, it's going to take all the data. We just change the inputs really quick. I'm not going to make it fancy. Just right. We can see that from our screen, it's collected all the data from here, like everything, right? But you don't need all this data if you're trading just this range or stuff like that. You can just pull a fixed range from here to here. You can isolate that data a lot more. So this will help you give you a better edge in knowing where the shorts are and where the longs are. So if we deviate from the value area low, you pair for longs. So you deviate from the value area high, you pair for shorts. As soon as you start scrolling around, your visible range will start readapting to the new price action on your screen. So it's good. I think it's good for looking at the macro picture, the entire chart, whole history. But I don't like using it for scalping or anything like that. Okay. So let's look at Tron. I keep getting distracted there. So let's look at TRX. Last time we looked at it was on the 15th of September. So a little bit. This thing just kept going up. So unless you're taking the Fibonacci retracement, there wasn't very many trade opportunities. If you zoom out on this thing, it's a beast, right? The asset that no one is talking about is BNB and Tron, and they're outperforming everything. Ever since we broke this in February 2023, so pretty much when Bitcoin had its macro break, this thing has been in an uptrend ever since. And it has, at one point, almost 6x'd. And now, oops, my bad. Let me undo something. There we go. So we have this ascending channel here, another tight one on Tron. We're starting to, we're not starting to lose it yet. We're still holding this momentum. We just had a really aggressive bounce off it here. And now we're building this ascending double bottom off it here. If we zoom in the lower time frames, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Here's the ascending double bottom. Because we never broke this low. We could delete this. It's not going to be helpful to us anymore. We could delete this. This was helpful for us for the long, but that one's over. Zoom out a bit. So here we can pull two value areas. We have this demand zone here that induced this range. We hold it as support, we bounced off it, then eventually we broke to the downside when used as resistance. So we pull this from here to that moment where we lost the value area. And we have this local value area here. And how this is going to help us is it'll help us understand confluences for a continuation. So if we come up and we get acceptance into this valley area with a break of structure, and they can also help you tell you when we're about to go trend bound. And I'll show you an example of that just occurred with Bitcoin too. So we got this previous valley area low. It has a confluence of a bit of a supply concern here. So we'll get that answer very shortly. If we fail from this newly formed, we just printed this SFP right here. So we got this is an SFP off this high. This is known as a legacy SFP when we sweep anything that's pretty much not beyond a local pullback. So this is the invalidation point. If we get the higher high, break a structure, close, then we get that rotation up to our next key area of interest, which is the point of control. We have a supply zone right below it. We have a supply zone right on it too. So we'll have a couple things that will likely induce a pullback if we get that acceptance. Around 34 cents, 34.5. Yeah, around here we're going to struggle. We'll see what happens, but it's kind of at a make it or break it moment right now as we speak. If we fail here, we'll fall back down to the value area high. It doesn't mean it's going to be over, like game over, and we're not going to continue to go up. But it will mean that if we get acceptance to this value area, we'll rotate down, and that could induce us to lose this momentum that's been holding us up for, how long has been holding us up for now? It's more broad momentum. Oh, this is from the low at 21 cents. It's not the absolute low before the big move. Oop, my bad. But still a really important one that can induce a much stronger move down. So this is kind of a bit of a make it or break it moment coming up here. And if we fail, if this SFP doesn't get invalidated, because the wick right here is the invalidation point, and we come down, then this is a good spot to prepare for longs again. If we had that bullish change of character, you could front run the unclaimed high and then hopefully get the break for the continuation. Is it me on the 15 minute? Yeah, it's looking a little weird. You just can't get above this wick for the short. But if you want the long, then we have to wait for the break of structure up here. I wouldn't trust acceptance's value area unless it was an hourly break of structure. The potential based move on the double bottom, though, if we do get it, brings us to the value area high. So let's see if that works out. I'll leave this on here in case the next live someone asks to look at it. We'll find out how it did. Set this back. But yeah, that's Tron. Bitcoin's getting close to our key area here. Wake up to W's. Yeah. So glad I finally asked. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask questions if you have, even if they're basic questions. There's some people that are just watching and they might be learning themselves. Okay. All right, so we looked at Bitcoin. We looked at a couple of weird ones today. Look at virtual. Ondo, how you doing? Ondo's got the close on the break of structure. Virtual is fighting that supply. This is the Bitcoin. Litecoin, how are you doing, man? 111. Okay, we're in the supply zone right now for Litecoin. This previous value area low, supply concern, confluence. That could induce a reversal. We have a regression trend into it, which is also bearish. They usually break to the downside unless they internally reclaim a key level. Like we're about to here, honestly. But yeah, Litecoin keeps struggling against 128. That level is like, yeah, 128 is like the average for a lot of holders in the last cycle. So every time we get up here, those people are exiting the market. But Litecoin's one of the network tokens one of the tokens I like because it's been holding its legacy support since 2018. So we have this really consistent multi-year support level that we can use for really good longs. So if we fail to get back up there again, and this is just a retest to the head and shoulders, and we come down lower, then I'll be all right with that because it'll be another opportunity to buy. But right now we have the inverse head and shoulders instead. We just broke out. We're almost at the target. And the next big supply concern after the low time frame one that we're dealing with right now is up here, around 113. But you guys will definitely be receiving a signal from me so long as this performs that we want it to for shorts. This is invalidated idea now. There is still good confluence here, but it's invalidated because I was using a fib pull from the low to the high, which was the unclaimed high at the time. And we had golden pocket confluence here with the uptrending momentum and the order block. So since we didn't fail, I won't be taking this trade because I wanted to trade this into the unclaimed high in hopes that we continue up, but we never got it. So one of our 4 setups has been invalidated, but one of them here is getting better and better in terms of R&R for the setup. Your PC is probably still mad because of the story with the 560 tabs from last week. I've been keeping up with closing the tabs as I open them because I know I have a lot of. See, my tabs here, I don't know about your charts, but mine almost reach a gigabyte depending on which chart that I'm pulling up. Like my Bitcoin one's 1.5 gigabytes. So you got to get in the habit of closing down ones you're not using because it'll take up all your virtual memory and your computer will just stop working. Especially if you use order books. If anyone uses order books, you got to close that shit down before you go to bed. Hey, Randy, how you doing, man? Maxwell, what would be a good target for the short trade at 118K? So I will have evolving targets, but you always look at your initial barriers first. So if we take the short here, our primary initial barrier will be the consolidation that formed above the value area low. So we've been watching this like a hawk. If we have an opposing change of character, I'll probably close like 50% of my trade. If we instead continue down, get the break of structure, lose the momentum, that'll be looking at my next barrier along the way. But ultimately, I want to kind of try to short this down to a 114, but we have a couple areas that we'll have to babysit along the way. And I would set alarms like this around those levels. Like this was initially an alarm for preparing for a long here, but since those confluences are no longer there, I'll be looking at it as an area to prepare for a potential bounce because it'll be a front run alarm to this order block that could induce a reversal too. So it's a matter of how the price action behaves when we get to these levels to tell you, it kind of dictates whether or not you should stay in your trade or get out. Because it hit off this point of control, we get the bounce here and we get the higher high, we'll be rotating to the value area high of 120K. Remember, we were just talking about volume gaps and volume nodes, right? This whole area is a strong area of interest right here. And once you get acceptance in it, you kind of get trapped back in it like glue. Then we consolidate for an answer for continuation, or we consolidate for an answer for reversal. But this is the final boss before reaching the all-time highs. Okay, what's next? We got, what about stacks or XRP? Let's take a look at XRP. It's been a little while. 26 was the last time we looked at XRP. All right, we mitigated our supply that we were worried about. The last time we looked at XRP was around here. We were looking for a continuation here. If we held this as support, and we did, and we'd be looking for to migrate to the value area high, which it kind of did better than we anticipated, right? We migrated beyond that, came back into a previous supply concern here. We had a new one here that we mitigated. We delete that now. Or we were preparing for the SFP to kind of front run all that, but we never got the SFP. So now let's zoom out a bit. We got this inverse head and shoulder structure. We have this more, let me just adapt some of this stuff here. We got a fixed range volume profile that we could pull from this demand zone here to our local price action. We can delete. No, we'll get that back on. We can delete this though. We can delete this, because we're getting data that's overlapping each other that we won't really need. We'll move this over here in case we SFP off that high. Okay, now I want to find out. I can see that the 2 6-hour candles kind of like they close and open here, so there might be some kind of supply zone there, but all right. Right now we have this massive inverse head and shoulders on XRP. We have a little bit of an awkward left shoulder being really high to the upside. So the confirmation of an inverse head and shoulders for anyone who trades them is support off of them with a break of structure like this, right? So you always take the highest point for something like that, but internally you could trade to that high, of course. If we have that break of structure, you can start targeting this area again and try to front run it with internal double bottom like this. So this is the key level that we need to have broken. I'm going to leave a wick mark here just in case we SFP, because we have that supply zone right here that helped induce this pullback to begin with, right? And we have the previous point of control confluence. So we have lots of reasoning to hit our head here. So I'm going to mark this zone here as an area of interest for potential rejection or shorts from the wick level low to the high of where the POC is. So if we SFP here, we'll have a good reason to come back down to maybe retest these highs. We currently have VWAP confluence with that high. So if this regression trend fails here, I'll be looking for potential TP1 being here. We have a fair value gap here. So if we get below that VWAP, we'll probably slip down to here really quickly. And these create volume gaps on the visible range volume profile or the fixed range volume profile. And clearance in the order book. So try to get a fast-paced move. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, okay, you got me excited there for a second. But yeah, acceptance above here with a break of structure, we'll be rotating to the value area high for sure. There's like not very much resistance beyond this point. When we get past this point, we have a little bit of a supply concern here, but that's really just going to probably induce a pullback to test the POC and come back up. But yeah, above this point, I would definitely prepare for some shorts. Like right here, for example, we failed to create the higher high, and then we got acceptance back into it. We even got the pullback, retested, lower low. You would be targeting the value area low at that point. So above 314, prepare for aggressive shorts. Sorry if that alarm scared you. All right, we got my alarm go off here. All right, so we prepare for potential SFP first. I don't like the 5-minute pullback. There wasn't a proper one. But yeah, otherwise, if we get the break of structure above this wick level, yeah, we'll see a rotation up to 314 on XRP. We have broad momentum right here that you can watch along the way. We can delete this. So yeah, momentum fails and confluence is reaching that value area high. Like here, like you saw here. Or you could see around here. I prepare for an exit plan and maybe a rebuy down here again. But yeah, things are looking bullish structurally. Just a couple warning signs first. My alarm's not supposed to be resistance, Bitcoin. Up here first. Can you look at Ava? We could do that. Solana had a nice move up yesterday. Yeah, we can take a look at Solana too. I'm going to set an alarm for a little bit closer to the S&P. We'll do 3 seconds this time so I don't annoy you guys. Okay, so Ava, that's what you're saying. Finance. I do gotta head out soon, guys. It's not really good timing, but okay. This thing is in a forever consolidation. Supply barrier, broke through it. New supply barrier here. Okay, we got one right here too, but this is the more immediate threat. Okay, this downtrending point of interest. It's kind of like following along with these highs. This is 200-day EMA and the 50-day EMA. We had a death cross here, but the price action is getting really close to the EMAs again. So if we get above this downtrending resistance, we should have a golden cross like we had here. But you want to make sure you front run a golden cross, especially on alts, because especially range bound alts, because if they're range bound, the crosses are usually weak. But on something like Bitcoin, you can, man, I encourage everybody to backtest the golden cross on Bitcoin because it gives you like the best opportunities. Just use the daily strong low structure and you got yourself a perfect win rate strategy with really high R&R. Okay, so yeah, we have an internal value area here. I'm going to get rid of some of this noise on this indicator here. There we go. Okay, so this is the macro valley area low, and this is the active one for this consolidative range for AVA. We've deviated away from the valley area, which is a long rule by itself. A lot of people might only take those kind of trades. You can take a fib retracement tool from the valley area high to the valley area low to find out those percentage-based deviations. Like right here, for example. I like taking ones that are between 25 and 50%. Prepare for the break, like we're getting right now. We're retesting these highs. But then what you have to do is when you have the deviation of the value area, you got to treat it as a form of resistance. We have the 50-day EMA kind of like meeting up with that value area low. We have like the upper side of the supply concern being there too. So if we get that break of structure, we get a fast-paced move to here and just got to prepare for the rejection. If we have an opposing change character here, then we might get that strong pullback to these highs again, and we could get that inverse head and shoulders posture. Kind of like a lot of assets seem to be preparing for something like that. And then when we get that acceptance into the value area, then you can start targeting. Honestly, I'll be targeting the local highs here in confluence with the macro and the active POC are kind of one in this area. So here will be a good spot to prepare for shorts again in hopes that it continues up. Because at that point, what will likely occur is hit our head here, pull back, retest the 200 and the downtrending momentum as support, get that brick structure, and then we'll come up to the macro value area high from there. So this could be a front run to a huge opportunity. Thanks for showing me that asset. We'll see if we jump in on it. Bitcoin, what are you doing now, man? We're getting close to that potential SFP opportunity. Oh no, Kyle. Lost Kyle's screenshot. Oh, you can refresh now. You're good. Yeah, get my chart back. What Noah's talking about, for those of you who are new, if you go to the Discord, you can type in !charts, and it'll give you the links to all of my charts that we've done TA on. So you can look back to it for your notes if you want to compare my analysis with yours, so you can find out whether or not our ideas are kind of like merging. You can decide with more confidence whether or not you want to jump into a trade. Not financial advice, but Solana had a nice move up yesterday. We can take a peek at Solana too. Let's close down one of these charts. Litecoin wasn't very exciting. We'll close Litecoin. Okay, we're looking at Solana. We looked at this on the 30th of September. SFP opportunity here. Okay, we're looking for shorts here. Last time we were talking about it. Okay, so we're kind of in that spot now. It's kind of funny that we're having a regression trend alongside this momentum here as resistance as we get closer to our supply concern here. We mitigated a 30-minute order block. We have wicks here that we have marked in case we SFP. So if Bitcoin has an SFP here and Solana has an SFP here, we can use, if you're someone who wants to use Bitcoin's positioning structure alongside your altcoin trades, if you do that, I promise you a higher % win rate. I know it does mess up some opportunities, like you might not take the trade unless Bitcoin's doing something that coincides with what you're preparing with your altcoin trade. But yeah, Solana and Bitcoin's positioning for a correction they're close to each other in an area where you prepare for shorts. Now, if we do get the SFP opportunity up here, we sweep this high. We do have an immediate barrier we have to watch right here as our first little area that we might be forced to take some profits on. But if we get the SFP, the R&R is going to be worth it, most likely. If we get an opposing change of character trade, the R&R might not be worth it, but an SFP trade for sure should be worth it. So I would also set an alarm for around 2:21:42. Get that pre-alarm set up right here. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay, so we could be getting an SFP here. So I start with SFPs. I start on lower time frames, and then I migrate my way up if it gets invalidated on the lower time frames. So a 5-minute first. We'll find out if that gets invalidated in about 2 minutes. Because sometimes getting in a lower time frame SFP will give you the better opportunity with an exchange for usually a lower win rate. It's looking pretty strong right now. So we might not get the SFP. We got a minute and 50 seconds on the 5-minute candle, and we've got 6 minutes on the 15-minute candle. We can delete the crossing alarm now. Your stop loss would be above the wick. Hey, we might get it. We are about a minute and 20 seconds away from the 5-minute candle close. Target these lows. Is there a buy wall forming at 117.57? That's a good question. Thank you. There is a buy wall forming at 117,670. Damn, right beside our price action. How big is it? Oh, jeez. Here we got a buy wall of 400 Bitcoin there. We have a buy wall right in our face now. Someone's trying to get in on this. 1,000 Bitcoin. Oh, they pulled it. Okay. There's a lot of... Okay, there could be some NTIFs here. Like non-intentional fills. Those are people who set up a buy wall, usually algorithmically, to induce buyers, thinking that there's support. And then they'll pull it as soon as price actually gets close to it. Because they had no intention on honoring it. Okay. So 400 BTC buy wall, which isn't too bad. It's like 1 or 2 bounces, depending on the volume. And the volume today is above our 30-day average by quite a bit. And we're only halfway through the day. All right, the 5-minute, did it validate? The 5-minute validated. We have a 5-minute SFP here. Now, it's a matter of whether or not you trust the 5-minute. What does the 1 minute look like? 1 minute tweezer. No 1 minute change of character. I don't know if I trust it on the 5. I'll look for a 15 though and see what the structure looks like on the low time frames. So what I did there, when you have an SFP occur, a lot of traders will dissect things on the 1 minute, and some of them will only take the trade if you have an opposing change of character on the 1 minute time frame to increase their probability of being right on their short. Okay, 15 minute, we got 3 minutes left. Let's take a look at that buy wall. Okay. The pros and cons of buy walls and sell walls is that price action cannot go through them until the orders are filled. But the pros are, and how it can work for you and not against you, is that it attracts price action because it's a form of liquidity. So let's see. I like that as a high invalidation point. We have the POC guarding our capital. We have an order block here, so if you want to give it a little more breathing room in case we come up for a liquidity grab. I can make sure I'm logged into Blowfin. I'm not. So 1 sec here, guys. Just gonna move this over. How much time do I have? 2 minutes. Okay. A Google Authenticator. Oh, here's my old password. Okay. All right, I'm logged into my Blowfin. Get your risk ready. Put your stop loss above the wick. Oh, make sure you set to market. This is a market order entry. That's one thing I still make mistakes on. I'll have it ready for everything already, my risk already, and turns out I'm on the limit side and not the market side when you're trying to take your trade. Okay, S&P confirms in 40 seconds. And if you don't like the R&R after it confirms, like I'm starting to not like it, then what you do is you try to enter between the confirmation and the invalidation point. So you try to get in between like here and there on the retracement. Some people, what they'll do is they'll pull a fib from the high to the low where the body closes, and they'll try to get in on what's called the liquid. So like the golden pocket area right here. So we can try to get in. Now it's all confirmed. We got the legacy SFP. So here we can try to get in on the pullback. Stop loss would still be around here. And all you're really doing is going after better risk to reward ratio. And this could be an ideal spot to prepare for another internal rejection. So I'm going to take it very soon. What's our barrier? So this is our target. Our barrier is here. 1 to 1.6. All right, I'm taking the short. Confirm. All right, I'm in. I'm in the short. So stop loss on my exchange is 118,221. It's a little bit higher right here. So it's right above the equilibrium point of this order block. Oh, let's pull out the magnet tool in case people are jumping in or watching my charts. There we go. All right, cool. So that's a legacy SFP trade. When you're taking liquidity from the previous highs, like this, and you had a gap. So a traditional SFP is when you have a price action come up, you get a pullback, and you're taking the local liquidity like this. Whereas a legacy one, it can have a whole bunch of price action in between it, right? Let me delete this. We don't want to encourage that price action now that we got the SFP. All right, so while we're waiting on this bad boy, and normally I try typing this up as a signal in the community, but SFPs are tough to communicate. You can communicate your levels, but you have to usually jump in on a call with the community, which is something that we're starting to do. Whenever we have an SFP kind of set up, we usually will jump in on the Discord call to kind of like guide people through it. It's hard to type it and enter it at the same time. How did you jump in so quick? It takes me forever to set up a trade. Is this the kind of thing in a course? Yep, it's in the courses. So when you manage your risk and you prepare your risk prior to the actual confirmation. So if you know your invalidation point, you just set up your stop loss here, and you would evolve your risk to your budget. My budget's really low on this trade. It's like $20. So if I lose this trade, I'm only gonna lose $20. But the intent is to gain about $50 on this setup. On a scalp trading account, I usually risk to lose 100 to try to gain 200 or more. In a swing trading environment, I risk to lose 1,000 to try to gain 2,000 or more. But yeah. So this is our first barrier here, guys. We do have a buy wall that you got mentioned from you guys, and I appreciate you pulling that up. We got to mitigate the buy wall first before we're allowed to go down further. We're kind of bouncing off one right now as we speak. Yeah, there we go. Target for Ondo swing $1.08. You going to set TP or wait till opposing rules to be met? Ondo. Oh, my alarm just went off again. Yeah, Ondo got the break, so we can get another pullback if you'd like. The target. This is a more of a swing bound target of $1.08. But yeah, I'm actually going to be buying Ondo now that we got this acceptance into here, just for the spot hold. But I am worried about this area here, 95.29. So hopefully Bitcoin plays out to our target. So far, it's looking good. We're at the buy wall now. So let's see how quickly we break through that. As Bitcoin pulls back, Ondo should pull back and give me a better price for an entry. I'm not doing a futures trade on this. This will just be a spot hold. Okay, let's take a look at the order books, see how we're doing. We're at the buy wall now. About 400 Bitcoin, 440 Bitcoin left. If we see a candle close below this, we know it was mitigated. You can do it. And then what we look for, how you evolve your stop loss. When price action comes down, we pull back. Pullbacks shouldn't stress you out. They should make you happy, right? So long as it's not stopping you out, pullback should make you happy because it means you can move your stop loss sooner once you take out the low. So you can move your stop loss from here. Your goal is to protect your capital as quickly as you can without compromising your trade. So you need to have a new strong low, whether it be internal or not, to then move your stop loss to that strong high, sorry. So try to always have a positive spin on your trades. Whenever things are going against you, try to think of the positive so it doesn't scare you out of your trade. Okay, we look at pump. Yeah, well, hopefully Bitcoin continues its dump. We'll look at pump. I don't think we have a pump chart. I'm just going to double check. We do not. Okay. Okay, Bybit. Bybit did a little bit of a sweep too. Pump did a little sweep too. Zoom out. Oh, this is a blue dotted line. Okay, this does make sense. Okay, it does make sense. Okay, so pump did get the new all-time high. These blue dotted lines are always my all-time high lines, so I got a little confused there for a second. So it looks like pump lost its evolving momentum here, lost its broad momentum that's been holding it up since 0.0026, which was about, 168% ago. Now we're coming down to retest the 50-day EMA. This asset's too young for a 200-day EMA, so it doesn't have one just yet. But it's nice that to see that it's already respecting its 50-day EMA, even though it only has 5 anchor points. Let's see. Let's go to the hourly. We have this inverse head and shoulders that every other asset is kind of starting to create. See, there's relative strength right now with pump because most assets are right here right now, right, against this supply, whereas pump has already broken through that and had the confluence of the 50-day EMA for it. So we had, this was our previous demand zone for this little bounce here, but it's no longer helpful. We had the supply concern that we've just mitigated, so we don't need to mark that. We can get this. We had a tweezer top reaction. Send this to back. Oh, sorry, sent to back. Pull this fixed range volume profile from here to here. Got our value area low. Get rid of this. Move this here. Dave, you can use TradingView to preset your trade, and you can just copy your stop loss and take profit to your exchange and be able to open the trade with Kyle together. What size do you enter with? Is it one from a spreadsheet? Okay, I'm trying to catch up here. Sorry, guys. So I kind of like what Pluff was saying. No, not Pluff. Manny, sorry. You can go onto your exchange chart. Don't do it from your TradingView chart. Go into your exchange chart and you can right-click your level, copy price, and you can paste it. So you don't have to type anything majority of the time. And then, yeah, manage your risk prior to entering the trade. So right now, pump is, we just mitigated this supply concern here and kind of where we are, right? We're at this area of interest. We could be forming an SFP as we speak, right here. Also forming divergence. Yep, this is the high to our current. Yeah, so we're forming divergence. We're seeing the RSI descend as the price action's ascending. So as a form of exhaustion. If we get a break of this low, I'll be looking for a retracement. So we got the impulse move from the low to the high. You could find potential confluences for us to find support. The confluence that we have here is the golden pocket is aligned with this hourly order block. So what I'd be doing is marking the order block here. Maybe even notate yeah, you can notate your confluences if it makes it easier for you to remember why you're preparing for the long. And then you just need the structural confluence. So what we're lacking is the price action to actually be there and give us the bullish change of character. This could also be your exit plan if you jump in on this SFP that's occurring right now. That confirms about 2 minutes. We'll have an hourly SFP. So long as we close below this wick. You would want to initially target here, but if this breaks, then you have your continuation target to here. You do want to watch these previous highs too, so I'd mark that as local support just in case. Well, this is our big key level that we want to have broken for a short. So if I were to draw padding, when I anticipate this to behave, we get the SFP in about a minute. Here, potential small little bounce here, and then this is where I'll prepare for my exit plan or a long position. But that's pump. I hope that helps you out. It's doing really well. We probably just need that pullback to reset things a little bit. It's kind of overheated. That measurable target suggests that we can get to here, but we don't have to hit all targets. We're really close to it. This S&P confirms in a minute and 14 seconds. The invalidation point is the wick. So you definitely want to bank on this breaking because the R&R from here to here, which is the SFP target, is not really worth it. Your short would be less than a 1-to-1. Well, basically a 1-to-1. How's Bitcoin doing? Let's go back to Bitcoin. 15 minutes looking good. We're getting a good drop. We broke through the buy wall. Okay, that's the more important thing. Yeah, no more buy walls, so no more confidence in certain areas. That was the reason. I don't even know why people would have confidence here. Bitcoin is at critical levels. Why are we looking at shitcoins? Because people ask, bro. I'll look at anything you guys ask me to, but I'll tell you it's a shitcoin. Like, yeah. We were already in a trade on Bitcoin, so it was safe for us to look elsewhere. But we got a 15-minute order block created from our short, so we have that extra additional barrier for our capital now. Now, order blocks, we sometimes retrace to them to come back down. But this will be a good area of confluence now for shorts if we come back up to that area. I'm already at I was pretty close to my 1-to-1 already. Target for Ondo. Okay. Some people will be sad. No signal for this. Yeah, I know people will be sad. Yeah, it's hard to do two things at once. We do have a call at 3:30 today for the members. Just so you guys know, it's a new call now every week, 3:30 Eastern. We'll be back testing and building strategies. That's what that call is going to be about every week. We are the order block. Yeah, we probably induced the order block. How do you define order blocks if you had to mark them yourself? So I look for a really basic and easy to find structural behavior. It's a 2-candle structural behavior. So what you need to see for an order block to be formed is usually indecision on one candle, right? High volume indecision move like this. So you normally create a doji and then an impulse move behind it that will engulf it. It has to engulf it. If it doesn't engulf it, it's not an order block, right? So this, from the previous high to the previous low, is your order block. And in the center point is the equilibrium point. These are normally created by basically a large amount of orders being put into place, and the structural evidence suggests that there's residual orders. So there's still orders yet to be filled in that area, basically. So we have 2 examples in our face right now, or 4 examples, right? So we had this one here that just barely met the requirements because that candle just barely closed above it. So this was an order block. Here as well, order block. Here as well, order block. So that's what I look for. Like once you see it, you can't really unsee it. We had one here that just barely met the requirements too. But yeah, that's an order block. It's considered mitigated. It all depends on the trader, on how you just consider it mitigated. After most traders that want golden pocket fast responses will consider it mitigated after one tap. Some will consider it mitigated after it reaches the equilibrium point, which is the center point of it, and others will consider it mitigated when the whole thing has been filled. For me, it depends on the interaction. If we see a slight little tap like this, I will still watch that area carefully, right? I'll still watch that area carefully. It's just a small little tap. But if we kind of like go into it and have an opposing chain character out of it, even if we didn't fill the whole thing, I'll consider that mitigated. Okay. I think we're all caught up on the chat. Oh, Daniel wants to look at near. We can take a peek at near. So Bitcoin still just chilling here. Are we holding the momentum? Well, we're starting to lose the momentum a bit. If you pull it wick to wick, we're still on it. Pull it to the bodies, we're kind of like breaching it a little bit. Let's go 5-minute structure. Yeah, we're tapping these order blocks here. Tap these previous highs on the 5-minute. So these would, that kind of confluence would kind of do a small pullback for sure. We have the higher time frame order blocks. Confluence of these previous highs on the 5, it could cause a pullback. But if we do get the pullback, and then the lower low, I'll be moving my stop loss to break even at that point. Okay. Do I use fair value gaps together with order blocks? So I don't. So what I use fair value gaps for is breakout confluence, because fair value gaps tell a very unique story in the order books and what's technically happened in the background, right? So we have like a fair value gap like here, for example, right? So if we break this key level, we know that it's likely going to be a quick move till the fair value gap is filled, right? So if I'm looking for a double bottom, for example, like right here, and there's a big fair value gap like right here, I will normally not wait for a retrace because of us closing inside of a fair value gap, right? I'll accept the fact that we're likely going to get a quick move to the opposite side of the fair value gap. So I don't normally use them in my trading, but it does tell me what to prepare for in terms of my entries. Like it'll adapt how I behave. So I'll jump into it as just a market order and not wait for a pullback if we're entering into a fair value gap. That's how I use them. Because when you have a fair value gap, it creates clearance in the order books. That's basically what a fair value gap is. It's an illiquid move, usually caused by a large player that filled multiple orders with a single order. It's all in the course, of course. Like I talk about how fair value gaps are born. But yeah, because of how they're created, I usually will only use them to notify myself of a faster pace move. But it's not one of my confluence-based rules for entering trades. Yeah, you're right. There is order blocks everywhere. That's why not every order block is equal, right? Just like every change of character is not equal. You want to stack confluences on top of each other. Okay. We had a request for near. Let's take a peek at near while we are waiting for Bitcoin to hit our target. Near. So near, what are you doing, bro? Double bottom. Breaking out now with break of structure. Top of valley area. Let's zoom out on the daily. Okay, so we looked at this relatively recently, I think. Looks like we looked at it around here. And we marked this originally for a potential double bottom, and this was the event where you'd want to front run that large double bottom. Instead, we failed to get there. We hit our head off this previous value area high. And we created more of a, not like an inverse head and shoulders, but we stacked more liquidity above us than we've taken like last time we visited it. So the measurable target I'm going to keep the same based on that double bottom. It does still suggest a move all the way up to here at $6.07. We have a massive supply concern that blocks that. But we had, this is the daily, so this most likely became an SFP in the lower time frames. You delete this noise. We can pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here. We also can technically do it more macro. We have the supply concern here. Yeah, this value area high is flush with the macro one, so I'm going to delete this. Our previous value area low is pretty much flush with this POC, so I can delete that too. Got overlapping data that we won't really need. Let's go with the 4 hour. So 4 hour internal structure. We have this downtrending momentum here that we're just breaking now. We have the descending double bottom, so this did create a change of character on the 4 hour. So we do have lots of confluences telling us that we're going to be coming up to this value area high. We do have a little bit of a supply concern here that we're fighting right now as we speak. How's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin dropped down further. We created another order block here, guys. So another little guard for our capital. You could move your stop loss to break even. If you took this trade with me, not financial advice, but if you took it with me, you could move your stop loss to break even. We don't have a proper pullback, but we do have for our guard is this order block. And if we broke through this order block, I got a feeling that we'd come up and get knocked out. So what are we at? What am I at in my risk? My risk still just barely above the 1 to 2 or 1 to 1. I was telling you guys I was risking to lose like 20 bucks in this trade, so nothing crazy. And right now I'm up 25, so I'm just barely above a 1 to 1. Go back to near just so I can dissect that again for you guys. So go down here. This could bring us a move, the momentum-based move based on the support to the neckline, which is where you find your double bottom targets. Yeah, it suggests rotation to $3.03, which the value area high is at. I'll leave this on here in case we come back to it so we can talk about it again in the future. Where's our... Okay, it's pretty choppy. It's a really choppy supply concern. This is the 4 hour high. These were wicks on the 4 hour, but they're bodies on the 15. We can see that we are testing this previous high here. So we get the higher high, we can get us that full moon up. Because we did get the proper pullback. Yeah, so we've consolidated. A lot of trend-bound confirmations just occurred on near. Just a matter of whether or not you trust the stop loss guard around here. Bitcoin still going down. I have Bitcoin open on my other monitor, so I'm watching it closely. We do have liquidity to be taken right around here. So we have good reason to come down. You can do it. $83 viewers. What's up, guys? It's bumping. Whenever you jump into a trade, everyone stays. Canadian accent. Do I have a Canadian accent? I'm definitely Canadian. I don't hear it. You can talk to my brother. He's kind of got one. He's got like that slight newfie kind of. It's all kind of a joke. Not really his actual voice, but. Okay. Did we mitigate that? I'll send this official order, send this to back. One thing I kind of get annoyed by with the long and short position tool is the opacity of it. So I'll send it to backwards so I can see that price action over it. Okay, we did tap into the order block. You have a New York accent? I love Brian's accent, like one of the coaches in the community. Yeah, sounds so Boston. How does the SFP channel work? Do you update it manually? I do update it. Yeah, it's all manual. If there's an automated way of doing it, I'd be doing it. That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, no. I think we need to make an indicator first in order to automate that. So we need a bot or an indicator to be able to recognize an unclaimed high, and then have it set an alert. And then if it's able to set alerts, then you can automate anything that you can set alerts on TradingView. You can automate as a tool. Say, for example, like if an indicator tells you a change of character is going to occur, you can automate the change of character occurrence. Or if an unclaimed high was created right here, this is an SFP level. So if we came back up to it, we could SFP off this again. But it's very, very hard to make an indicator that will tell you about legacy SFPs. Is what we just took was legacy SFP from price action way back here, right? I think local SFPs would be simple, but to automate, but yeah. Okay, where am I at with my RNR? RNR's at, I don't want this to engulf. This candle engulfs, so I'm going to take some off the table. Because what happens if this engulfs? If anyone can tell me. If this candle closed past this wick. How many and how long are you trading? The trading course will take you some time. So the trading course has about 120 lessons in it. And it's structured in a way where it's day by day. So it's called a 30-day blueprint trading course because you kind of like want to break it down one day at a time. There's 30 days to it. By the end of the course, you would know all the basics, because the beginning of the course is all about the basics, like learning about market structure, how to manage your risk. Like you'll have your risk management down hopefully by day 4. And then later on, you start learning strategies, like how to combine rules together to make your own profitable strategy. We give you about 5 strategies as well. So if you don't want to make up your own strategy, then you can copy an already existing profitable strategy. Like this is being one of them, like trading the SFPs. Reversal. Noah Pluff says order block. Pluff is right. So Pluff, shoot me a message. I'm going to send you some karma. So like basically, right, if we closed above here, we'd have a bullish order block created. And that itself is a potential warning sign of a reversal. So you're technically both right. But yeah, Pluff, shoot me a message. I'll send you some karma, man. For answering that one right. Almost at our target. I'm going to move my stop loss a little bit into the profit zone. Where's the course? There's a link down below the video, but the membership, there's this there's a standard and there's elite membership. The standard comes with a majority of the courses, including the one that we're talking about. It doesn't include the mindset courses. That's the main thing. But the elite membership comes with all courses, so you get access to them all. So you don't need to pay a crazy upfront fee of like $1,000 or $2,000 like you do with most platforms. It's all included in the membership, and then you also have access to me, so you can ask me questions whenever you want to, and all the signals and all that stuff. All right, so I'm moving my stop loss into the profit zone. I cannot lose money in this trade anymore. If I get stopped out, I'll make like $6 in the profit zone, but it's better than losing, right? And we're getting close to our take profit area. And you could plan a limit exit. Now, if you plan a limit exit, it will reduce your fees, but it also reduces your opportunity. And what I mean by that is, if we had to break a structure, the continuation down, you'd miss out on that because you limited or exit out. But if you're sleeping, I'd recommend limit exits every single time. And just let the gains compound into your next one, in your next trade. Sleeping or walking away from the charts. So it's not in the gang chat? No, there's no. Yeah, the Alexo Crypto's community and my community are separate entities. So you won't have access to my courses and stuff through there. I do give you guys some signals on the Otter Gang chat, but I don't give the like all the trades and all the courses and stuff. All right, we're getting maybe a 2 candle pullback in the 5 minute. Maybe we'll get that lower low. We can move our stop loss again. We mitigated this order block when we tapped into it, but we could struggle through it a bit. So this indicator adapts to 2 candle pullbacks. So it's already considering this an unclaimed lower low, but I'll do that as long as we are above, like this wick. Daniel lately became a platform to show off about his earnings, saying how much he doesn't care about people joining his Discord, to the sentence shoving it down our throat to join the premium Discord. I don't know. I don't think that doesn't sound like him. That's weird. Please don't change. Keep your value stream the way it is. Thanks for all the... No problem. Yeah. The only time I see like giving out knowledge to be a problem for me is when this channel starts getting bigger. Like let's say like 50,000 people. I might have to figure out a way to filter the requests, because I always want to be like answering requests for you guys and answering questions. But there might become a time where it might be hard to keep up. That's all. Thanks, man. I like how Alexo, you, and Brew, and Wave are all connected. Yeah. Alexo, when he started his Discord, I built his Discord for him and helped him set up the price payment gateway to allow people to come in, stuff like that. And him and I have been like close ever since he started trading. I remember when I was giving him tips on YouTube on how to grow, and now he surpassed me. Like he's got like more than 2 times more subscribers than I do. But he also has like, I do calls a lot with the community, so I'm not able to do as many like YouTube lives. And I'm a builder. I like to build stuff too for the community. So sometimes I can't do all like lives all the time. But yeah, and Brew, he's been growing pretty good too. Wave Cipher. I just recently met him. I think Cam. Yeah, it was Cam, one of our members, Cameron, threw me in his Discord one day. And then now I'm giving signals in his Discord too. But Wave Cipher is pretty cool. He gave me access to his indicator, and right now I'm working on building a strategy using his indicator. It's a pretty cool indicator. I could see it being a lot like a Bolter Band kind of strategy with his indicator. You kind of look for deviations and changes of character occurrences within them. You can make a web app that goes live, accept 10 messages requests at a time, and then close until you open again. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. I just created this bad boy with auto. Their giveaway system. So on Friday, this Friday coming up, I'll be giving away a $6,000 funded account. So you guys can trade with, the winner will get a $6,000 account. I can show you guys how it works, because this Friday will be our first one. And then I definitely think I should go. Say copy this. All right, so how this works. We can test it out together right now if you guys want. Let's pick a keyword. Let's say Bitcoin. We'll do Bitcoin as our keyword. And then I'll grab, where's our live stream? Now this is like API connected only to my stream here. But yeah, grab the video ID. All right, and I click on sync from Discord, so all the members will get added to this automatically. And then I'll click start listening. And when you guys say the word Bitcoin on Friday, we'll pick a different word probably on Friday. But when you guys say that word, it'll start listen. I'll start listening. And then basically you start getting added to this system for a ballot entry. And then we go over here to draw, and then we pick a winner. It'll automatically pick based on all the people that commented that word and all the members that are a part of the community. And you guys get entered into a draw to win a free account. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so we just created a bullish order block right here. And just talk about how these are created. I'm tapping it now. Hopefully break right through it. Come back down further. But this is considered a form of warning sign that things could start to reverse. I'm hoping that we don't, and then we just come down and hit our target. But if we get that lower low, I'll be moving my stop loss from here to this high. Love your on-chain video. No problem, man. Yeah, the top, calling the top one. Yeah, those are my macro rules for calling the top and the bottoms. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that thing is, those rules have made me so much money. Yeah, if it wasn't for those rules, I wouldn't be here where I'm at today. I wouldn't have a house. Nuts. Darren says, I don't got time to be active on YouTube. Otherwise, YouTube revenue is not, yeah, YouTube revenue is not great. You guys give me crazy tips sometimes, and that's pretty much where all my YouTube money is. Otherwise, I'll be making about $50 a month doing, 1 hour to 2 hour long lives 3 days a week. Like, it's not very much money. But it is a cool tool to reach out to meet new people, though. Like, if it wasn't for YouTube, our community would probably be about 20 people. Okay. And we gotta get that engulfing response. Let's get that. If we get an engulfing candle, we'll have a tweezer top. If it engulfs below this green candle, and a tweezer top itself is a short signal. Tweezer bottoms too. That's a good tweezer bottom right here. You can do it. Come on. Ah. We got a tweezer top, but it didn't engulf. Is my Discord free? Unfortunately, no. There is free aspects to it. Like, there's the welcome channel and stuff like that. And you guys are more than welcome to message me through that. But all the signals and stuff is not free, unfortunately. We have a big team. There's a lot of overhead costs. If I showed you the overhead costs, you guys would throw up. But yeah, I have a decent team that I pay them and stuff like that. So we have a paywall in order to get in. I am working on potentially creating a third tier that's lower cost, though, because we have 3 tiers. I mean, we have 2 tiers. One's like $47 a month. You guys can try us out right now, though, for 50% off. There's a code that you can use, ATH, for all-time high, to celebrate Ethereum reaching its all-time high. So you can get 50% off the first month, so you can try us out that way and see if it's for you. I promise you, if you guys go through the course and you follow along the signals safely with proper risk management, you'll cover the cost of the membership for sure. We did tweezer and golf on Blowfin on the 5. Okay, cool. Oh, you're right, we did. Yeah, we did. I'm watching the 5 on my other monitor right now. Let's look at the 1 minute structure for a second. Okay, so we flip bullish on the 1 minute right here. We hit the golden pocket right now. Yeah, hit that golden pocket. So we got some early warning signs that we should be potentially taking some off the table. So I'm going to close half my trade. All right, closed half. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So we got half the trade out, and I'll mark. It's a little bit higher on Blowfin, but as an action of this area here. And normally what I'll do when I close half and you guys are looking at my charts and stuff, I'll have a note right here. Now, closing 50% shouldn't be something you guys do lightly because it impacts your net R&R, but it does secure gains that if you're in fear of all the opposing confluences that can come up and threaten your stop loss. It's good to listen because if you get knocked out, you're giving up some of your capital that you could have gained on that setup. I'll delete this. You guys don't care about the P&L card. Matt, you've been in Kyle's Discord for years. Great stuff. Worth it if you're on the border of subscribing. Thanks, man. Milko, what's up, man? How you doing? We have a lot of Matts, but the last name's what stands out. R Pink, ever watch Mitch Ray YouTube has tips set up to receive in crypto, so YouTube gets none of it except a lot of different pretty cool stuff. Well, that's cool. It's a smart idea. All right, so I'm happy with this trade setup so far. I gotta eat, guys. I gotta have lunch, and then I gotta make an Excel sheet before our community call in about 2 hours. So I gotta head out. I would love to hold this trade to the target or to our stop loss with you guys, but I gotta go. I had a lot of fun though. We looked through a lot of assets. I'm gonna hold this trade hopefully beyond our target, depending on how we respond to the liquidity grab from these lows. If we have an opposing change of character, I'm getting out. If we get a close below it and we have a break of structure, I'm definitely staying in hopes that we have a full rotation down to 115K again. We have decent liquidity around here too. So if we break below this area, this could be a good target as well to prepare for a reversal. So this valley area high at 116, we need to have acceptance into that valley area for a continuation down to 114 to retest this downtrending momentum that we broke out of from the all-time high. We have an order block here and a previous highs here. So we have lots of reasoning for a bounce here if we make it down there. And if we get down there, if we get that break of structure below here, find a strong high to put your stop loss and then keep using the strong highs as your stop loss guard. And hopefully you can hold it all the way to the bottom. All right, cool guys. You have a great day. Thanks for jumping on. And I'll see you in the next one. So Friday, we have the big giveaway. So anyone who wants to jump on Friday, we start at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll try to do the giveaway like relatively early. So if you're only there for the giveaway, I'll understand. But yeah, I'll be giving away a $6,000 account, maybe some karma, and a one-on-one coaching call with me to 3 separate winners, okay? All right, cool. All right, see you guys. Have a great day.